Hey there, thanks a lot for tuning in. In this video, I'll explain to you how nasal breathing literally changed my life. I looked into this many years ago, but didn't go really far because I didn't have a band and I didn't have strips of very good quality, and it was just too much trouble and I didn't get the results I was hoping for or looking for. I couldn't measure anything with my HRV, my resting heart rate, with the different variables, but I found a good brand here called Intake Breathing, and this little band and these magnetic strips that goes on the inside of it did wonders, not just to my sleep, but to my HRV, my resting heart rate, and even my recovery score. I used the Ultra Human Ring Air to track everything alongside with the Whoop just to have a reference, and the numbers have been outstanding. This thing is just incredible for how little a thing, for the cost of this thing. It just changes so much. So in this video, I'm going to share some of that data. I'm going to explain to you how I used it and how nasal breathing simply just made a huge impact on my life as a person, but also, of course, as an athlete. Better recovery, better sleep usually equals better results, and that's been the case for me personally. Since I started using this, I've broken just about every single of my national records. As you can see here, I'll share my stats with you guys, and they've been pretty mind-blowing. Obviously, more sleep, better sleep, deeper sleep especially, and I've been tracking this with the Ultra Human Ring, that I enter my deep sleep way earlier. So even nights where, for example, I travel a lot for World Cups, so where the nights where I'm jet lagged, I still manage to get into that deeper sleep. So obviously the reason for this is that it opens up the nose, but during sport, it's more so that it doesn't close down the nose. So if you don't wear the ring, as you can see now, if I do a heavy inhalation through the nose, it doesn't slim in the nostrils. They maintain that size that they have, and then they allow for a larger airflow. Whereas if I take it off, well, it's not ideal in terms of taking air in. What most of you think, what I agree a bit, is that if you do anaerobic efforts, well, you're not going to use the nose anyways. You're going to inhale as much as you can through the nose and the mouth as well. And to some extent, if they're highly anaerobic, well, you're not even going to be able to transmit that air into the blood and into your muscles. But when we're talking about aerobic training, this also made a big difference. For the same wattage, my heart rate has decreased by 3 beats per minute. That could be due to a lot of reasons, the weather, the temperature, so I'm not going to dive too far into that. The things I do have stats on is my sleep and the different numbers, my recovery numbers. Intake Breathing is the one I partnered with because I found them to be the best out there. Is it pricey? Yes, it's definitely pricey, but is it worth the price? The gains compared to so many other ways, we're talking supplements, equipment, or just training effort, this is far beyond that. For the time it takes and for the price, it is a huge game changer. It's simply just gonna make a big impact on your recovery, your sleep, your well-being in general. That's the other thing that I found, is that my wife said I snore way less, or basically don't snore at all, using the band overnight. The cool thing about this band is that it actually manages to keep your nose open. So what I do is that overnight I use one size larger than I do in a day. Now, talking about the sizes, just to clarify what actually comes when you purchase a subscription or a single set of Intake Breathing, you obviously get a variety of different sizes of the bands that you can use, but you also do get these small magnetic strips. In a monthly pack, there's 30. My experience, when you learn to apply them properly, this took me 2 to 3 times, and it does take a little bit of effort at first because you got to really focus on it. There's a manual and it's fairly simple how to put them. And after a few times, you're dialed in and it doesn't take that long anymore. When you do it properly, if you wait a few minutes, if you clean the outside of your nose as you apply it, then my experience is that it lasts 24 to 48 hours, depending on how hard I train, actually how much I sweat. But that's super nice. So a monthly package definitely will last you a month. What happened to me is that my wife stole most of them. So, it lasted about a month for me. In addition to that, you get a cool little box. Nice for me because I travel a lot, where you have this little apply magnet. It's pretty neat. It just makes it a little easier to put them on there instead of fumbling around with the stickers, because of course you want to keep those clean because you would want it to actually apply and stay there. So the way it works is that you apply these, you wait for a few minutes. 3 minutes is what they advise you to do. I generally wait 5, 10. I don't think there's any risk in waiting longer, just to make sure that they really stick for a day or two. And then you simply just put that band on, and it's going to expand your nostrils and keep them open overnight, which then automatically will simply just make you breathe through your nose, which is scientifically healthier, especially when you're doing low effort things such as sleeping. So I really invite you to try this out. As you can see in the stats, it made a huge difference for me, and it is the opposite of giving an effort to improve, which is very unlikely, especially in elite sports where you're chasing all those marginal gains and putting all the effort into those, and finding something that can change those overnight is pretty damn sweet. So if you haven't tried nasal breathing, give that a shot. And if you're looking for a brand that you can trust, then intake breathing is what I would recommend you to go with. Had only good experiences myself, and I am definitely going to keep on using these, not just until the next Olympics, but you know, as long as they produce them. So stoked about this, and I hope you want to check them out. My name is Victor Hall-Thorpe. Stay tuned if you want to follow my journey leading into the next Olympic Games, and it's going to be linked below to all this stuff. Of course, the band, the strips included.